What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Do a Podcast. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony. And I just gave the mic a chest bump just a second ago.
Hell yeah. Take that.
Yeah.
And of course, the music that you're hearing in the background is our buddy Dark Rizard. Royalty-free music. Check him out. It's been a while. I mean, as you guys know, we took off last week. We're recording late tonight and, whatever. But
that's how we roll.
We knocked out two in a row, and
yeah, it takes a lot of energy out of us.
Yeah, we did two in a row again. Let me tell you, oof. So buckle up for buttercups. But of course, before we get into Twilight, the Eclipse, let's get into beer. Because for one, we've been waiting quite a while to try this beer.
We have. Initially, this beer was only available on tap, and neither of us made our way out to the tap to get it.
Yeah,
and then I just randomly tripped upon it at. I was going out to get some bourbon, and I saw this in the cooler at just some random store that I've never been to before, and I saw this in the cooler, and I found the elusive Tropical Mosaic IPA from Community.
So we found out about this beer 6-7 months ago.
Yeah, I think we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, that it was like they told us, they're like, yeah, this is our next thing that we haven't even been announced it yet. And so I was like, ooh, that sounds great. And so ever since then, we're like, we gotta try it. So finally we're trying it. And let me tell you, it smells really good.
Let me get this can opening action here.
As the viewers at home know, which hold on. There we go. I always pre-pop mine because there have been too many times where I've popped it and it just spews all over the place, and this is too expensive.
You just need
I can't do it.
You just need a deft touch there.
Yeah. And of course, you can be watching Let's Do a Podcast anywhere that you can watch podcasts. So YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. I guess that's it. Just look up Let's Do a Podcast and PartyCast Network, and you'll see us there. So we got an ooh.
It's like Community Mosaic, but with juice in it.
Juice. Orange juice?
No.
Pineapple juice?
Maybe. Okay, so let me read the can here. So Community Tropical Mosaic, it's 9% alcohol by volume, ABV. We've sent our legendary Mosaic IPA on an all expenses paid trip to the tropics. Fresh pineapple, mango, and kiwi fruits elevate the aromatic, juicy hops to a totally new latitude. Okay. Grab Tropical Mosaic IPA and let us bring the beachside beer drinking vacation to you. I had to think when I read the word latitude, I was like picturing in my head, okay. Is it latitude, longitude? Okay. It's like if it was just latitude, it's like if I was just I was thinking it was longitude for a second, and I was like, oh, that's just east or west. It's like that doesn't mean anything. But they got their geography right. So all right. You win this one, Community.
So what's your initial feeling after a couple of sips?
This tastes like a milder Mosaic a little bit.
It's oh, excuse me. I
was thinking it was going to be closer to it, and I shouldn't have expected this because Community Mosaic is a American IPA,
right?
So I was thinking it was going to be closer to like a hazy, like a New England IPA, and it's not that.
Oh no, definitely not.
Yeah. I don't know why I expected that, but
yeah, I don't know why you would. It's interesting. I'm on the edge right now, currently, with a few sips of like, do I like this, or is it just Mosaic IPA?
Well, it's like the front of it, the initial taste is like good. You get the juiciness there, but it's on the aftertaste. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
So, of course, we'll be drinking this throughout the whole episode. We'll give you our final rating at the end, because we will have to. Because I'm interested to see as I drink this. I mean, granted, it's been a while since I've had a Mosaic, so it might be just kind of getting used to that again. Because I know we talked about it before of like after going so long without a certain beer, like whenever you rehab it, you're just like, oh,
You
do I
have and then you have a
like?
variant of that, and you're just like, you don't remember the comparison anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like I wish I had a regular one so I could drink it side by side. You know?
I should have brought it. I have one. I think I have one in my fridge that has just been there for a while.
You know, my I think I told you this, but whenever I went down to Austin, I don't know, last month or something like that, I went into my uh aunt and uncle's beer fridge and they have like a whole section that's just the Mosaic IPAs. Like the whole section of the fridge is dedicated. They're like, yeah, every time we come up there, we grab a bunch. I'm like, oh,
And so if you always want to get the stuff that you don't have that much access to, I guess.
yeah.
Because I remember when I first came here, Mosaic was probably one of my favorites, and then I like started getting into other like breweries. Um, it's like I think my first favorite beer when I moved here was like Revolver Blood and Honey,
Mm,
because like I think it's when Blood Orange was getting to be really big.
yeah. I mean, it's still a good beer
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing too, is like it's always fun to revisit the ones you're like, oh, I used to love this beer, and you try it, and whenever it still hits, when it's like,
Yeah.
oh, it's
Like I
still a
still
good
do.
beer. It's still
Yeah.
a good beer.
But like after I got more into the local scene, like community, Mosaic became my favorite, and
Yeah.
then I got into like Super Mosaic. Remember that? Yeah.
We would, yeah, we
Yeah.
would always message each other when we would drink one because we'd be like, all right, let's open one.
Yeah.
There's quite a few times where like, are you gonna have one tonight? Be like, yeah, and it's like, all right, let's do it because we'd always wonder how the other one handled it because sometimes if you do it on an empty stomach, you
Oh
are
yeah.
trashed.
I tell you, it's like community. If you're listening to this, tropical super mosaic, do it.
Ooh,
Do it, you cowards!
I dare you.
I dare you.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean that's always the fun thing too, and we always talk about it too because we have gone back before and tried a beer that we loved whenever we
Yeah,
first were starting to drink beer together. We would go back and we're like, yeah, it's not as good as I remember. And it's always just the have they changed the recipe or have
yeah.
our taste in beer changed?
I tell you, there's another one that's only on tap. It's a tropical medical grade haze. And I do want to
Mm,
try. So that one is more of a New England style. So I really
yeah.
want to try that.
All right.
I don't know if they're going to can that or not.
We need to try to actually make our way out there. It's such a great spot. We love their new location.
Oh yeah, they
So
actually have their. We'll probably touch on this a little bit, but they actually have their 9th anniversary party coming up, which they didn't get to celebrate that earlier because their grand opening of their new place.
mhm.
So,
So yeah, let's take that segue and go ahead and talk about events. So
wow.
it's late. We more than likely you guys are listening to this on Wednesday, uh, the 28th, by the way. So there's odd stuff here. Like the Celestial Beer Works, they have their Fair Day Yappy Hour adoption event.
Well, dog events going on right
Yeah,
now, aren't they?
yeah, there really is.
I saw like there's like I do a lot of races and they have like this Pause Colinas 5K thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like
Yep.
I was like, so they have like a lot of dog events going on. Which hey, I'm pro dog event, so
Oh, definitely.
I just thought it was weird that they all happened at the same time.
Thursday we
Like
got
spread them out. I don't want to have to choose one. I want to do all of them.
right. Community on Thursday is doing their taproom release of the Funnel Cake Ale.
Oh, it's that time of
Yeah,
year.
yeah, we're getting
State fair coming up.
state fair stuff.
I'm gonna like. Are you gonna hit up the state fair this year?
I don't know. You know,
I
the
gotta get that. I
last
gotta get that funnel cake ale with the powdered sugar on
well,
the
you can
rim.
make that at home.
Yeah, but it hits different at the fair.
I know, but like I don't know. I don't know. I always
It's like you gotta see. You gotta go see Big Tex. Howdy, folks.
see. It's
Hope he
such
doesn't
a
burn down.
struggle.
Yeah.
It's such a struggle for me because it's like I always want to go, but usually whenever I go, I'm like, okay, was it worth all this money to come here?
Yeah. Oh, last time I went was 2019. I think I'm due.
Yeah, that's whenever we went,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we
Yeah.
took the train down. That was
It's
a lot of
been
fun.
3 years.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be as hot. I mean, based off of how temperatures have been, it's been really
I'm
nice.
hoping it's gonna break cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right. So Thursday we also have the Cowtown Brewing doing music bingo.
Oh, do that. I've done that a couple times. It's always a good time.
I really want to. It seems
Yeah.
like fun.
They you don't have to know the songs. They'll eventually tell you the songs. So if you're worried about like going in there and be like, I don't know any music, they'll eventually tell you the music. So yeah, don't worry about that. I tell you what, there sometimes they're not maybe very clear on the rules. There was one like the final round they always do is like basically you have to mark all the boxes on your sheet.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make that clear, and I got like I got a bingo, just a standard bingo, and I went up there and I was like, "Yeah, I won," and they're like, "No, you didn't win." It's like I just made like a huge deal about it, and I was kind of embarrassed. 'Cause I was that guy.
I like that story.
Yeah, it's a very sad story. I was very sad at the moment. I
All
thought I won
right.
free beer.
Yeah. So Saturday, we have Oktoberfests because it's
More Oktoberfest.
still the season. So Roaring Sons has theirs. Fort Brewing and Pizza, excuse me, has theirs.
Oh yeah, I keep meaning to go down there. It's like not too far from my house. I need to go check that place out.
I'm pretty sure that's where me and Hannah went. And I think it was pretty good. I think we talked about we're like, oh, we need to bring Anthony Monique
Yeah.
here. Hop and Sting is doing their Barktoberfest. It seems
There you go,
like
more dog vents.
yeah. Oak Highlands is doing their Oktoberfest. Lagerfest at Turning Point. Snaketoberfest at Intrinsic.
Oh yeah.
Oktoberfest Southern Roots Brewing. Let's see. Shannon's doing their Brews and Blues for boobs. So it's a fundraiser.
Oh yes, it's
Cancer.
October. Yeah.
And then Tubbs is doing their Oktoberfest. Oh man, I think
It's like I know I think it's on the 6th or the 8th or something like that. But Martin House is also doing a turtle event, which I got. If you've seen me wear the drink beer, it save turtles shirt before, I got that at that event. I randomly went to that last year, and that's a good event to go to.
I think we're gonna try to go.
You know, you want to go hang out and see some turtles.
I mean, I really want that shirt. So
yeah.
And then Sunday, October 2nd, which this will be the last bit since we have another podcast. We need to share some content for you guys.
Yeah.
Four Elements Brewing is doing a reverse brunch with Burger Schmerger. Okay.
Reverse brunch is what happens after I drink too much beer.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. Division Brewing is Sour Sunday. Okay. And Oak Cliff Brewing is doing a backyard pitmaster barbecue class with Brisket U.
Yeah,
$119 per person.
Those guys are getting around. I need to sign up for one of those classes because I see it so often. I need to hit that class up.
Right? I mean, I wonder what
I just need to bite the bullet and just do it.
I mean, that's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But it's just like, listen, if you get a ton of meat and beer.
For somebody who doesn't own a grill, it's like I probably could never use these skills because I don't have the grill. It'd just be probably be a total waste of my time. But
as long as you get to eat good food and drink beer,
that's true.
Sure. So those are the events that we're going to talk about. Obviously, next episode we'll talk more and more and more. And I'll look up the Martin House because I think it seems like even the spouses want to go to it. So we'll go to that. But actually, first, let's talk to Anthony because he actually went to an event this last weekend.
I did.
So how was your Oktoberfest?
Oktoberfest. Well, so I try to make it a point to go to the Fort Worth Oktoberfest every year. They actually, so every year that I've been to 2018. I didn't make 2019 because of issues. 2020, of course, I didn't make it because they didn't have it then.
Right.
2021, I went last year, and then 2022, I went this year. Every year, so 2021 and prior, it had been over in Panther Island. They do the events. They have like Ferris wheels and rides and all this other stuff, beer, brats, you name it. But this year they had it down in Trinity Park. I actually took the opportunity to do the 10K with it as well.
Mm.
You do the 10K, you get 3-day pass to go in, you get the beer stein, you get the medal, you get all that fun stuff. But I also thought it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it turns out it was just Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so I went on Saturday, which is the day of the race. I thought I had another day. So my 3-day pass became effectively a 1-day pass because I didn't read the fine print.
Of course.
But So my wife and I, we went down there. I did the 10K. She wasn't feeling well, so she didn't get to do the 5K. But we went down there, got the sign, got the free beer, and then we went inside and had. I think in the course of like 2 hours, because it was flipping hot on Saturday.
Yeah, it was really hot on
Yeah,
Saturday, which is sad. It's been great
summer.
all
Yeah,
week. Like, and then all of a sudden Sunday, they're like, let's make it hot.
yeah. But I went down there, and in the course, I feel like 2 hours, I had two brats, potato pancake, three beers, like one like Oktoberfest, two Spot and Lager Radlers,
Mm.
and then a cheesecake strudel,
Ooh,
all in short order. I was hungry after running, so I feel I was like, I earned this.
yeah, for sure.
So but yeah, and then we did all that. They were just starting to do some of the polka music. We watched some of that, and then they were doing the Datsun costume contest before they did the Datsun races. We saw the costume contest. I feel like the Datsun owners need to get a little more creative with the costumes. I feel like I saw like 50% hot dogs.
I know, right? It's so like we were talking about it. I was like, find a corn dog.
Yeah,
That's different.
it's like although I don't think the Datsuns will agree with the stick part there. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be a little difficult, but yeah, I mean, come on, get a little bit more creative. We get it. It looks like a hot dog. That's
Yeah.
yeah, funny, but like
Apparently there was one that was dressed as a jester. We didn't see who won, but I'm guessing the jester probably had a good chance because
had to be.
it couldn't have been one of the hot dogs because
Yeah,
there's so many of them.
yeah, we've seen them.
Yeah.
It's still. I mean, yes, it's still cute. Don't get us wrong.
Maybe
Don't get mad.
maybe the hot dog is a more aerodynamic shape for the race. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we sadly we didn't go, but we decided to spend the weekend celebrating my birthday a little bit late, but yeah, so we just kind of hung around. Honestly, I can't remember what we did besides. Oh, I do actually. Yeah, we went out to brunch that morning with my
Mhm.
dad, and then we went over to Celestial for some beer and just hang out, and then met you guys over for dinner and had some amazing food.
Oh
Oh my
yeah, it's some
gosh.
pretty dope food.
I
Yeah,
wish I could remember the name of the place, but um
Southern
Southern Table?
Table
Something
and
like
the
that.
Southern Table and something else.
But man, even like the chicken was fried in like duck fat. Oh my god. Really good old
I had
fashioned
some lamb chops, and and I felt fine eating lamb chops because they were jerks.
So
They jerk lamb chops,
okay.
so I was okay with eating it.
Um but yeah, some really good old fashions too. There's good, which has been my kick lately. Oh my gosh. I've been trying to make them at home and I'm not nailing it. So
I think we determined the secret is maple bourbon.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That on top of I think I need to do just like a simple syrup instead of just like a sugar.
Yeah.
Because it leaves it grainy and it's not as
It's like
good.
a sugar
So,
slurry.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna try up some new things. And I think my whiskey is honestly like so I got this whiskey as a gift and it's very like it's a specialty cast iron. I feel like it's almost too strong of a flavor for it. So
You got to get a whiskey as a gift.
yeah,
So
I
it
guess.
refills every time you pour it out.
Yeah, there we go. You're
That
on
was a that was a
you're on a roll.
dumbass joke.
Oh, this is terrible. I think this is where we need to transition, going
Oh.
from a bad joke to a bad movie.
Oh
So,
man, yes. Let's do this.
all right. So we're at Twilight, or the Twilight Saga
Yeah.
Eclipse.
Our purgatory continues.
Oh, yeah. We had to take the week off.
This is the middle. This is the middle movie. We still have two more after this.
I know. We're after doing the last two. We're like, well, we're taking a week off.
Yeah.
And we'll just dip into October.
As I said early, I earned this.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. So I guess you can do the synopsis and then we'll talk about our just bullshit with this because
All right.
there's so much bullshit in this.
All right. Let me get my let me get my movie man voice. Okay. Bella once again finds herself surrounded by danger as Seattle is ravaged by a string of mysterious killings, and a malicious vampire continues her quest for revenge. In the midst of it all, she is forced to choose between her love for Edward and her friendship with Jacob, knowing that her decision has the potential to ignite the struggle between vampire and werewolf. With her graduation quickly approaching, Bella is confronted with the most important decision of her life. Dun dun dun.
Oh, that's where they leave it. Okay.
Yeah, that is where that and guess what? Accuracy points to that. That is what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
If you're here, if you're looking at this and it's like this doesn't sound like a lot of conflict, you're right. It's not a lot of conflict. There's some, but not a ton.
Yeah. This is. I feel like I'm just going to say, I'm going to assume, because we haven't watched all of them yet, this will probably be my favorite out of all of them, because this is, I think, the most action packed one that we get. Because there is.
This is definitely the most Texan of the movies, I would say.
Yes. Yeah.
In a way that I don't know if it's good.
Yeah. I feel like they some things that didn't quite make sense, which is, I think, just everything about this movie. So actually, before we go and talk about this, I got information about Twilight.
Ooh.
Okay, so
lay it on me.
Apparently, the person that wrote Twilight,
Stephenie Meyer, yes,
she was Mormon.
Oh, was she now?
So that kind of explains the whole. I feel like the torment of like the relationship, but like not going too far and like the sexual tension in there. I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense.
It's it's interesting because like Edward, he's quite chaste.
Yeah,
to put it lightly.
Because at one point I go, I feel like the person that made this hasn't had sex before. And then
which is interesting because like again, we talk about the fan fiction of Twilight ended up being 50 Shades of Grey, which is not that. Yeah. It is the opposite of that.
Yeah. So apparently on the first movie, it was written more of an action movie than it was based off the book. So they had to like scrape it because I guess whoever it was that wrote the script like gave it to them, and it was like Bella at one point was like on a jet ski running from the FBI, and there's like it's supposed to be an action movie, so because they were like, let's get guys in the theater.
Like get Jerry Bruckheimer or who's the guy that did Transformer movies? Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, Michael Bay is like just like explosions going every 2 seconds.
So I think that's originally. So I was like, oh, so maybe that's why they had to like scrape it and still try to make the deadline. So maybe they're like, let's just go off the book. And so maybe that's why we kind of felt that way about the first movie, where it's like maybe they stuck too close to that book.
Yeah. Well, because it's interesting because like we found out later, it's like going back to the movie we talked about last time, New Moon. We had complained about the whole thing where she just sat there for like 3 months and did nothing. Mm-hmm. It turns out that there's chapters in the book that are named for months. It's like was it like September, October, November, December, where she's like it just kind of spins around. It shows like the seasons changing outside. And it turns out there are chapters in the book that are just blank chapters, just like illustrating her depression.
Yeah.
So I retract my negative comments towards that. Apparently that's accurate to the book. So
yeah, no, I take mine back too. And because then you're like, oh, okay, so that's kind of cool that, they did in the book and they tried to show that in the movie. That makes sense. So I don't know. I just feel like those little things kind of like, oh, maybe that's why they did this.
A+ for artistic direction there and recognizing the author's vision.
Anyway, so yeah, coming into Eclipse, it has such a weird feeling because like the beginning, her and Jacob are not Jacob, Edward. I always get their names mixed up. Like it's everything she wanted, but for some reason she's like unhappy about it. I was like, and she gets mad.
It's the same thing. She wants to be a vampire more than anything else, and Edward doesn't want her to be a vampire.
Yeah,
but he's also kind of like giving into the fact that she's going to be a vampire at some point.
Yeah,
because at the last movie, like the Volturi, like basically you have to make her a vampire.
Yeah, and so like then she decides, you know what, fuck you, Edward. I'm going to go hang out with Jacob, even though like it's
what can she do? His hair was super wet.
I mean,
like everybody knows wet hair is sexy.
It is. I get wet as soon as I see it wet. So, oh man, but it's crazy. The whole story part, I feel like, is just nonsense. I feel like they're just pushing all this random shit just to get to the part where there's actually like the fighting.
I feel like the story verges on travelogue. It's like these are the things that happened to me.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's just like, and again, not knowing what's in the book, but it's just like, hey, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened, without any regard to like plot, like pacing,
Yeah.
because it's just like these are things that happen during the course of things. But like everything was fine for the most part. But and like there's like this conflict brewing in the background, but it really has no effect on everything else
Yeah.
until like the very end.
Yeah. To me, it felt like this episode was very much like they're trying to focus on the Seattle killings and like the fight that's coming, and then everything else is just filler.
Which I was so bummed about that because, and this is probably creeping in a little bit into what we like, what we didn't like.
That's fine.
But they built up the threat of Victoria for the first
Oh
two
yeah,
movies,
yeah,
and then like it's just like went out with a whimper.
yeah. Which Victoria changes actresses too.
Yeah, to a good actress too, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah.
A good
Kind of
actress
wish she
slash
stayed around a little bit
actress
more.
slash director. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard, which totally underserved in this role. She could have done so much more with it than what
Which
they gave her.
there was quite a few, I think, actor and actress changes in this movie.
Yeah.
Little, of course, no. I feel like super major ones. I think Victoria was the
That was probably the
major,
biggest one.
the biggest one. But still, kind of like as soon as you saw them, you're like, oh, pretty sure that was a different person in the last movie.
Yeah. And I'm curious as to why they changed it. It must have been like a schedule conflict or something like that. But like well, to us to step it up with an actor of that caliber versus who it was previously, um, and then just do nothing extra with that role. It's really interesting choice to me. But then again, this is back in like what 2010 when this movie came out.
Yes.
Yeah, so Bryce Dallas Howard wasn't as big of a actress then as she is now. She hadn't starred in like all the Jurassic Park movies. She hadn't directed episodes of The Mandalorian. The only thing she was the daughter of Ron Howard.
So was this the one? Yes. Okay. Yeah. This is the episode that, like the werewolves and the vampires, they come together to beat the other vampires.
To beat
right?
the Seattle vampires,
Um,
the newborns, I think is what they refer to them.
The guy that's teaching them how to kill,
Jasper, yeah.
his accents change so much.
That was so jarring. That came across with that Texas
Yeah,
accent.
he's never had an accent ever in this whole series.
To be fair, he
except
hasn't talked
for-
all that much previously, though.
But still, you would notice because
Yeah.
of how extreme.
Yeah, he
As soon as it comes
so
time
thick.
to kill, like in Train, he goes, all of a sudden, he's talking like a Texan. He's like, yeah, I'll just go. And you're like, wait.
Back when I was in the Confederate Army.
Wait, yeah, all of a sudden. And then it would go in and out.
Yeah.
Because they would be back at the house or something, and he's talking normal. Then as soon as they're talking about something, he goes, yeah, and then I like you just snap off their heads, and you're like,
Which is
what?
Which is really interesting because Jackson Rathbone, the guy who plays this character, he's actually from Texas. So he's like playing a caricature of like the place he's from. So
He doesn't play
he's
play
like
himself very
he's
well.
true Texan, and he's like
You did
it's
us
so weird.
You did us dirty, man. You
Yeah.
did us dirty. But I mean, and that I think even at one point his accent changes a little bit where it almost sounds like he's trying to do, I think, like Scottish or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, because we were just like, what accent is he trying to do right now?
He's going for that antebellum, like pre-Civil War accent. I don't know. But he's like drawing it super thick. It's like okay, so like I've spent most of my time in Texas in like the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex. So
right.
I've not been exposed to that many thick accents,
Mm-hmm.
Texas accents. So maybe my experience is just not that great. But I feel like the Texas accent isn't that thick. If you're going that thick with your accent, I'm thinking like it's like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama accent almost.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to meet. I would love for you to meet some of my family.
Maybe I need to be exposed to some more like Western Texas.
Whenever I
influences
get
there.
along, whenever we all get together and we all hang out, then our accents start coming out and they get really thick, and just the way we talk.
I've just not been exposed to those thick. It's like I'm with all these transplants, so I don't really get that thick Texas.
You're staying
accent.
in the cities, and honestly, that's probably the safest place to be too.
Yeah.
So people like us aren't too welcome out there.
And I get out somewhere like Midlands, like everybody's got a gun, so it's pretty safe.
Oh man. besides those, like, I don't remember a lot about this movie.
It's a really
I
that's a really interesting thing about this movie is like as soon as you finish watching it, it kind of slides off the brain a little bit.
Yeah, I've had to rewatch the trailer multiple times. I've watched it 3 times today, just trying to remember everything that happened, but I was like, really, I feel like the only thing that happened is Bella and Jacob have a weird thing going on that, like,
That encapsulates the two prior movies as well.
yeah, so I feel like it almost kind of redeems the time. Like, I know one of my complaints was Jacob didn't get enough time, and so I feel like the last movie and this movie kind of makes up for it a little bit.
It was like A New Moon was the Jacob movie though.
Yeah, but he still didn't get a lot of time. Like, so again, that was always my complaint. So I kind of felt like, okay, maybe he kind of got his shot, and um, but so I felt like that was this movie, and then it's just the big build up of the fight,
Yeah.
and then the fight itself was meh.
Well, it's like we it's like we know that there are several other movies following this, so we know what's going to happen. We know that the good guys are going to win
Yeah,
because otherwise they would just in a total twist, unless it was like a Infinity War type thing where Victoria and her people win, and then all of a sudden the POV changes to those guys, and then they have to like. Anyways, we knew that wasn't happening because we would heard about that.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I can't think of what my next words are. Take us somewhere, Anthony.
I don't know. But all I can say is this plus the two prior movies could have been one movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted to go with like just like a dense like okay, if we were going for like Oscars, if we were going for like awards quality movie, they could have compressed all the plot points of Twilight, New Moon, and Eclipse into one movie. And it's just like because it's like you have one enemy throughout the entire thing, and it's Victoria. She's like
And
the enemy in the background.
they could cut out the amount of random, quiet, awkward stares, and it'd feel like you'd still be about them out at the same time. So
It's like it's like they looked at like how Spielberg does his movies because Spielberg does a lot of people looking at things. They took the wrong lesson from it.
yeah,
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 they focused on the people looking at stuff and just looking at other people, but that's not what Spielberg does.
yeah.
So
They're good at making awkward eye contact.
yeah,
So, all right. So what
it's
is
like, and I understand it because they have like a lot of good actors and actresses in this
Yeah.
movies.
and they're vampires. They should have plenty of stories. I mean, but instead they're just awkwardly quiet, and they're like, "So do you love me?" And you're like, "Oh, Jesus Christ."
To be fair, we do start
God.
getting some background into some of the other ancillary characters, which
Yeah,
I found like some of the more interesting parts of the movie. So
yeah. No, there, and that's the thing is like there is interesting stuff, but at the same time, it's you forget because it's not a big story. So I don't
it's like
know.
what was it the who's the girl that doesn't like her Annabelle or
I can't remember
well,
anybody's
like and
name.
she's like basically when she becomes a vampire, she like
Jessica? No, Angela.
Annalie. I feel like it has an E sound. And once I look at IMDb, I'll totally find it. But like the whole revengeful bride thing where she like kills the guy who killed her, and like but she's like dressed as a bride when she comes to kill him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that whole thing was
that was
interesting.
a good story.
Yeah,
I like that one.
and then the whole Confederate major story was pretty
It was
interesting.
interesting,
It's like I'd like to get a prequel and learn about like and see all these people's stories because
right?
that's more
Yeah.
interesting to me
Let's watch their lives pre going,
and
like
the tribulations of these people in the year 20 XDX,
yeah,
and them fighting against some just newborn vampires and yada yada yada.
yeah. Okay, so what was something that we disliked?
So what I disliked was the fact that and again, I just said this, but I dislike the fact that it took this threat that is Victoria. They gave us a really good caliber actress. They replaced the actress who'd been in episodes 1 and 2. And they gave us a higher caliber actress for this, but they just didn't use her all that much. She didn't become because like it's like her person that she was like in love with, James, he died in the first movie. She during the course of the second movie, she's like a threat in the background, but she's like not the primary threat. This is the movie she's supposed to come to the forefront, but she's never they she gets nerfed because of Alice and the fact that she can see into the future, but she can only see like certain people and like their decisions to make. So she like purposely doesn't make any decisions. She just like has this other guy make the decisions and basically end up like making all these people into vampires, which I thought was a really interesting thing. And they could have spent more time on that. The fact that like 0.01% of Seattle was becoming vampires.
Yeah.
That just a whole series of problems unto itself. And then there was the Volturi who were starting to get involved into it, but that ended up being ultimately nothing because they had like Dakota Fanning there. She
Yeah.
didn't do anything. She was
Yep.
there for like 2 scenes. But ultimately, I just said this. They could have taken Twilight, New Moon, and Eclipse, compressed it into one movie, and it would have been. I feel like it would have been a compelling arc for Edward, Bella, the family, but Victoria being the one continuous antagonist throughout the entire thing. Uh, I think that would have made for a good arc for one movie, and I feel like that would have worked. But I know they wouldn't do that because the studio wants to make money, and they want to make 3 movies money, not 1 movie's money.
Yeah.
So awards don't give you money. Box office gives you money. So
Yeah.
So they can pump out junk and put it on the put it out there in the theaters and people will watch it. So I understand why, but I feel like if they wanted to make an Oscars movie, it wouldn't have won an Oscar, but it
No.
would have been better. So
Yeah. So mine's pretty much the same thing, just because like, so Eclipse right off the bat is teaching you this is going to be an epic battle. This is going to be big, 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 big. And especially once you realize Victoria's a part of it, then yeah, you're thinking like, oh, this is
Rosalie.
There we go. Yeah, that's who the lady. Yeah. I just feel like this was what this movie was going to be about, truly. Like I feel like everything else was kind of filler. Um I did, like you said, I like the whole creating the newborns and not she's making decisions but not making decisions.
Right.
And I loved that backstory. I thought that was really fun. The build up to it was really, really good and kept me super interested, especially with the 3 who are the top people, the with
The Edward, Bella, and
with Dakota Fanning and
the 3, the Volturi.
yeah, the Victoria. You know, with them, you see them in the background watching Seattle, and you're thinking, "Oh, this is going to be," just so much really, really good buildup.
Yeah, especially because the Volturi, they're like OP.
Yeah,
They're so overpowered.
yeah. So just like there's so much buildup to this big fight that's going to happen.
I think it's funny because they're like,
I was excited.
I think it's funny because they're like, and like when we first see them, they're like, "Huh, I guess we'll do nothing about it and just see what happens."
Yeah. And so like I truly was excited. I was thinking, oh, sweet, we're gonna have something really cool. And like it was cool-ish, but I agree that Victoria died like very quickly. Like
She went out
everybody,
like a chump.
yeah, everybody, all the people died just quick. Like it was a very quick, massive fight that happened. So to me, that's where they fell short. Um, if you're gonna have a whole movie, like obviously there's still the love story, all that kind of stuff that's always gonna be there. The vampires and the werewolves are working together to beat the newborns. It's cool. You know, I was pretty much all into it, but then I was just so let down with the actual, I feel like the whole plot of this whole movie of the fight, the big fight to finally destroy Victoria. It to me, it was such a flop.
It's like, and I fully acknowledge that this movie is like different from our usual fare.
Yeah.
So like it's like there's some plot points that are going to be just not appeal to me as much as it would be to the target audience. But like for those elements that like I am interested in, it's just like I can recognize plot, but it's like I feel like there's just like not much there to move things along, you know?
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of it was just like wish fulfillment for the audience,
Yeah.
which is just like it's boring,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And that's really what just
But
made
not
me so
boring.
sad.
Yeah, but not boring in the way that I wasn't interested. I was still kind of compelled throughout the entire thing
Oh,
because I was like,
yeah.
what are you gonna do next?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
it's like so confusing, you know? It's like I'm not interested, but I also want to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. We feel like Bella.
Yeah.
All right. So what's something that we liked? Um, I would say for me, which I know we touched on, but I did like that we got more backstory on some of these other vampires in the family. Um, I thought that made me like these characters even more, even though I was extremely annoyed at this random accent. I liked the background of like, oh, like he turned vampire like this, and then he was like being told to kill all these people and do just kind of like the background story. I was like, that's really interesting. Like that's really cool. And like they easily could do like a side quest or movie of just like the stories of all these
I
vampires.
was
And
half expecting him to, like I was half expecting this lady that he was subject to for the longest time to like come up into the plot and like
yeah,
be part of like Victoria's
she'd
army or
randomly
something.
show up or
Or she
something.
was like
Yeah.
she's like the person behind it all.
Hmm.
And she's like Victoria's like master or what have you. I was totally thinking like this is gonna come up later
Yeah.
because like why else would they tell us this?
I mean, we still got two more movies.
Yeah,
Um,
who
but like,
knows?
I really like that a lot. I thought it was really fun. I at the same time, it made me think I would love to hear the whole, the werewolf side of this stuff too. Just even more in depth of their story and their background. Like we do get it
We get some, yeah,
but
because
like,
it's like it was this movie where they do the whole introduce the concept of imprinting, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. To me, I'm just like, "Oh, you should do the same thing with some of the characters with the werewolf side too. Like that would be, I think, really interesting. But yeah, so I thought that was really fun. I thought that was a good way to get you more rooting for the vampires and the individual people, especially the ones that we didn't quite know a lot about, because we know a lot about like the mom and the dad and of course Edward and you know but the ones that are like standoffish or quiet and all that stuff, you got to kind of get to know them more. You're like, oh, okay, cool. So that's how he knows how to kill these newborns so easily because he's done it most of
Yeah.
his life.
Is like
So
his job was to kill the newborns after a year.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what about you, Anthony?
Which it's like they gotta realize that after like, hey, I'm like the guy who's been here around here the longest. And how long has this about operation been going on?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like and they're like apparently made of porcelain, which is interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was really odd too.
Yeah. That
Odd
wasn't the
take.
case in the previous movies, right?
I don't remember. They
Yeah.
didn't really highlight it. So,
It's like they're made of the same material as the people in the Capri Sun commercials, except that like it's solid.
mhm.
Like
Yeah,
they're like that made of that silver goop.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
So, what
But
did you like?
so I hate to say this, but I agree. Like the thing I liked was like the kind of the historical background of the characters. That's like one of the main redeeming qualities of this movie for me. It's like I wasn't all that interested. It's like we've gotten in movies one and movies two the relationship between Ed and Bella. So we know what the state of the relationship is. I don't feel like they moved forward all that much, except for the fact that they get engaged towards the end of this movie. Not even at the end of this movie, but like towards like maybe the last, maybe towards the end of the second act, beginning of the third act.
Oh
So it's not
yeah,
even like
I
it's not,
forgot they even got engaged
yeah,
in this
it's
one.
not even like a huge part of the plot. It's just like a natural progression of like, hey, it's like
Yeah.
dating.
Oh yeah. Hey, marry me, and she's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, was there any doubt? It's like, I want to be a vampire. If I want to get be a vampire, I guess I got to marry you. So I guess I'm gonna do that.
I love too that like she left the house and he's like, "Why aren't you wearing the ring?" Because we're about to be in a major fucking fight. Like I don't know. Might be in the way.
Like I don't want to get caught on stuff.
Yeah.
But so like, I really found the historical context really interesting because we start learning more and more uh about the people. So I'm really hoping we get more of that about some of the other folks because that gives us more understanding of as to their motivations.
Yeah.
Um, the other thing I found really interesting was they did give us some payoff with well, this kind of falls into the bad the stuff I didn't like category, but also in the stuff I did like category. We did get a realistic reaction to when Jacob forces himself onto Bella when he kisses her, and she
Oh, yeah.
she like punches the shit out of him, and she breaks her hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought I actually did enjoy that because I was like, she has not expressed interest in him in that way at all during the course of things, and he's like totally misread the situation continuously. He's like, you're in love with me, you're in love with me. So she's like, yes, but as a friend. And
Yeah.
he's like, no, you're in love with me romantically because I'm in love with you romantically. But anyways, he kisses her, she punches him, but then she kind of utilizes that to help clear his head so he can fight the vampires and yada yada yada. But I thought that was interesting too. It's like a little bit of emotional manipulation to kind of like. There's a lot of emotional manipulation going on during the course of this entire movie. Honestly,
yeah, this whole series is all about that and
Yeah.
toxicity. So
yeah, because there's also the whole thing where she's like on the top of the mountain and she's cold and fucking
I thought that
Taylor
was great.
Lautner, his Jacob, he's just like slipping into the sleeping bag there because he's not dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's like a giant dog in human form.
Oh
So
my god, I was laughing so hard.
that whole thing was like, all right,
And Jacob's like staring at Edward too the whole time.
yeah. It's like look what I'm doing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I like all those things about this movie. I thought those were really interesting and they're really funny.
Yeah.
So I found those things. I was like, and I just found myself thinking, if Nicolas Cage was in this movie, how much better would it be?
Oh my god, I can't
Like,
even imagine.
If Nicolas Cage were in this movie, who would he be?
Edward.
Oh, that would be great.
He would totally be Edward. It'd be fun if they made him Jacob though. That'd be a new role for him.
Oh man,
Because he's played a Edward before. He's played a vampire. So
oh no, not the vampires, not the vampires.
what a crazy movie. All right. So of course we're not doing cheers or party foul, but we're just rating it where we put it.
It's like a team Edward or team Jacob on this one.
I feel like on this one, Jacob really got the upper hand because he got to lay in bed with her and keep her warm.
I feel like I'm team Edward on this one because he did not force himself on Bella on this one.
That's the thing too, is like Edward, I mean, he proposed and she said yes. So
yeah,
obviously
it's like he won on this one.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I don't know. I think she needs to keep pulling them both along for a little bit.
String them along for a bit there, yeah.
So so how would you rate this one out of the 3 that we've seen so far?
Okay, I don't recall what the ratings were last time. I think it was like 1, and I think I was like 1 is good, 2 is like not as good. I think 3 would be between 1 and 2 in my book.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I'd put this in first place for me.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. So to me, it's this one, then it's the first movie, and then the second movie. So
yeah, this one didn't have as much Anna Kendrick, which I gotta fault it for that. It's like I need more Anna Kendrick in these movies.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like out of all of them, this one had more hope. I enjoyed more parts than I did any of the other ones.
This one was far less depressing.
Yeah, so to me, like this one was the best one that I've seen so far, even though I still didn't like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. There's the movie.
We gotta start planning our palate cleanser. 3 movies from now. So.
Yeah. So you guys need to give us some ideas to help us wash our eyeballs from these movies, because, oh, buddy. So
like the end is in sight. There's only
2.
one technically movie, but it's in 2 parts.
Yeah, which is stupid. All right, what do you think about the beer? Let's finish talking about the beer, then we'll things that we like.
You know, the more I drink it, the more better it got. So,
I completely agree.
And this is actually what we talk about this, but like this is one of those ones that actually benefited from like warming up a little bit. I felt like it kind of brought out a little bit more of the fruity flavors a little bit. So if I had to put this on a scale of 1 to 5 on the Untapped scale, I'd have to put this at like maybe a 3.5. It's not a 4. It's not like amazing, but I'd say
Yeah.
it's good.
No, 3.5 is
Yeah.
exactly what I was thinking too. And I agree. Like, I think after I got past the initial first like 5 or 6 sips of it,
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, like it's like a shock at
Yeah, it's a little
first
jarring at beginning, yeah.
because there is a lot happening in this beer.
Yeah.
Then yeah, you can start to enjoy and like each sip and be like, oh, okay, so there's the juiciness,
Yeah.
there's the normal like mosaic, and it was good.
It's like imagine if you will, an American IPA that wanted to be a New England IPA. This
Yeah,
is its story.
yeah, truly. Um, yeah, I liked it a lot. It's different, very different, but yeah, 3.5 I think is very good.
Yeah.
Thing of the week.
You go first because I didn't think of one.
That's fine. So, I recently have been trying to get healthy physically. So, as a lot of you know, I've been working very hard. My mental health, I've been going to therapy. I do a lot of stuff daily to kind of help with all of that. And, throughout, because, I sit at home all day. I was just like, you know what? It's time for me to start taking care of my health. So I joined a gym and I started going Friday. So I've gone Friday, then yesterday and today. So I'm like, all right, I'm on a small roll, just drinking more water and just trying to pay attention to what I'm eating and drinking. And because, I'm ready. I mean, I think whenever we first met, like I was at my thinnest that I ever was. And I'm telling you, I lost that. But, I feel like you gotta be mentally in the right space to actually, I think,
Yeah.
get physically right. Kind of like my goal isn't to be super thin or anything. It's just like I just want to feel better and lose a little, like even if it's just a little bit of weight. It's just like I just want to feel better. I don't want to clean the house. Let me I freaking vacuum the house and I Swiffer and like I'm exhausted. I'm tired from that. I'm just like I'm so like that's sad to me. I'm like just like little things that I used to be able to do that I can't do anymore just because like the last 6 months that I've been home, I haven't done anything. Like I've kind of just let my body go a little bit. So yeah, starting to get back into it. And honestly, like even though it's only been 3 days, it's always like, okay, it feels better already. Like I'm sore, yeah. But the hardest part's getting started, and I
Yeah.
already did that. So it's like I'm getting started. I'm just gonna keep going. So it's just like even like today, I think I only did like 30 minutes because I was just like honestly I messed up my toe.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just like, ooh, I should have taken care of that before I got here. So I was like, I did 30 minutes and that was done. So I'm coming back tomorrow, gonna do starting arm stuff. So it's very much just kind of that of like if you're mentally in the right space, I'd say try to get out there and walk, or try to start doing some weights, or start doing something to start taking care of yourself. And luckily, with the weather in the mornings and at night, it's been so nice. So it's just like I kind of want to start going for walks around the block, and so
Yeah. I can point you to where so you can find some gel caps for your toes. So you if you're messing up your toes when you
yeah. One of
exercise.
my
Yeah.
so my toes are shaped weird.
Yeah.
And so like my two middle toes just rub against each other.
Mhm.
So last night wherever we went, I guess it just did it enough where like it opened up the skin and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I didn't bandage it or all today. So whenever I started, I was like, oh, it's like that
Yeah.
hurts.
Remind me, I'll show you what I use because
Okay.
yeah, and when I'm running, particularly when I run long distance, I gotta wear these gel caps on my toes, otherwise I'll do the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird,
Yeah.
but again, like I mean, that's some of the consequences of trying to work out and get healthy. But luckily, again, like I get to go at the weird times where nobody's in the gym. Like today,
Nice.
I went and there's like maybe 6 people. I was like, I like this.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's mine. So,
Nice.
what you got, Anthony?
All right. So mine's a movie. It's like as if I've not seen enough movies.
We
Uh,
watch movies all the
yeah, I
time.
know,
So,
right? This is what I do. But in preparation for Cagemas, it's coming up. It's
mm,
out there. It's on the horizon. The unbearable weight of massive talent. I went and I saw it because
saw it?
I could not wait. I needed to see it, and then see it I did. Don't worry, there are plenty of Nicolas Cage movies out there for us to see.
I mean, I'll probably I think we have to review it for
We're
the
gonna have
podcast.
to. We're gonna have to.
So,
I will be fine watching it again. This
is it
movie.
streaming somewhere, or did you go see
It was on Amazon.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
it was
there
on
we
Amazon.
go. There we go.
But Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So it's Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal, and many others. Pedro Pascal. Let's see if there's any other folks that are like big names there. Ike Barinholtz, Tiffany Haddish are in it. They're in much more limited roles.
Right.
But Nicolas Cage is playing Nicolas Cage, but like he's like a spy slash. But he's like Nicolas Cage the actor, but like he's like in the role of like he gets like recruited as a spy because Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian, he's playing like a drug kingpin, if you will, off some island. No, not a drug kingpin. He's like a weapons dealer or something like that. But anyways, illicit activities. That movie is ridiculous, hilarious. Nicolas Cage and Pedro Pascal's characters become best friends. But he's ultimately there to like rescue some girl that's been kidnapped. It's just nuts from beginning to end. I love that movie. I will watch it again.
Great.
We can totally do it again. I've also been already started my research for other Nicolas Cage movies for this coming year's Cagemas. So I'm ready. My body is ready. My mind is ready. Cagemas.
Great.
Yes.
So with that mentioned, so obviously for Halloween we're doing the 2 Twilight movies.
Yes.
If we might throw in a random Halloween movie that's not Twilight, just so we can.
Yeah.
So maybe you'll get an extra episode in October, and then we do need advice. We need some Christmas movies to look into. So if you guys have a crazy Christmas movie that you guys love, let us know. We'll watch it. We'll talk about it, and hopefully not hate ourselves the whole time.
Yeah, I think we're good on the Thanksgiving movies unless they come out with like a third Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. Also, I totally skipped.
I'm sorry. 4th Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you also have a Thanksgiving one, let us know. But again, like we do research too. We'll try to find stuff. But if you guys have suggestions, we'll always take them. Ooh, excuse me. And also with beer, if you guys have a beer, or even maybe if you want us to drink a mixed drink, some wine, who knows? If you want us to drink something specific, let us know, because we'll drink anything.
Yeah, it has to be drinkable by humans, though.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
not the Thanksgiving beer, even though they are making it, and we will
do that.
Maybe we'll actually drink it on an episode. Like we'll have other beers.
Yeah, now that we have video as a medium,
yeah,
you can see how bad it is.
Yeah, like I'll go try to see if I can buy 1 can, because we won't even drink 1 can.
I will do it this year. I'll drink an entire can.
He'll drink the entire can, and I'll drink something good. I'll have like a shot glass worth. But I guess besides that, you guys can find us on all of the social media platforms. Instagram is Let's Instapod. Twitter is Let's Tweet a Pod. YouTube is Let's Do a Podcast. Facebook is Let's Do a Podcast. You can also find us on Partycast Network, which they are on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. And then also, if you want to listen to us, you can find us on any listening podcast platform. If you can't find us where you like to listen to podcasts,
tell us so we can put it on.
Yeah, let us know. There's so many out there; it's ridiculous. But besides that, oof, this beer must be getting to me. That's it. So let's end a podcast.
See ya.
Bye.